Howdy folks, and welcome back to another Armored Warfare replay. And today I have for you the Chinese AFT-10 Missile Carrier. I am teamed up here with Centurion 6, who is running his Challenger 2 ATDU, David Bowie and her T-90 MS, and Kangaroo with his PLZ 05. Sorry I'm a little late to the show about my review on the AFT-10. I really haven't gotten too many good games out of it, and essentially when the tank had come out for Armored Warfare, I was in the process of knowing I was getting a brand new spanking PC, which that's what I'm doing the recording on, and I kind of waited and waited and waited, and finally I am getting to doing a replay on the AFT-10 and giving you my thoughts of the vehicle. So let's begin, shall we?
You're going up against the Alliance of
Vehicle is in
here.
service with China.
Received intel that the area may be littered with SAM sites.
It would enter
If that's the
service
case,
in
our
2014,
jets are in trouble.
or at least that's when it was. The A-18 was first publicly revealed in China in 2014. The AFT-10 is an ATGM missile carrier carrying 8 HJ-10 missiles.
Black Company,
The
change of plan.
HJ-10 is basically a scaled-down
Intel from
version
their hard drive about the Alliance.
of the
Find the plane, get the intel, and see if there are any
CM-501G
survivors.
land attack
Intel was
missile.
right. That's going to be one of the SAM sites targeting our plane.
The CM-501G is a Chinese
Enemy
clone
destroyed.
of the Israeli Spike NLOS. The missile is a non-line-of-sight missile. It can either be guided to its target by physical sight, well, not by physical sight, by gunnery sights, or it can be given a lock-on command, and it will guide itself to the target. The system can engage tanks, armored fighting vehicles, fortifications, and low-flying helicopters. It has an 8-shot launcher system mounted on a
Target destroyed.
D0F, or sorry, 08 IFT.
Penetrated.
Now, we're going to talk about a little bit about the DG8. It is powered by a BF8M1015 CP diesel engine providing 519 horsepower. Which is mounted in the front. As you can see, it's actually kind of centered, maybe a little off-sided to the right of the vehicle. That hence is its grill work on the front. It is amphibious and uses steel armor for protection.
Careful in there.
That's really all I'm going to say about the AFT-10 itself. There's not a whole lot out there about the vehicle. Now, what I can say about it in Armored Warfare is it's interesting. Obviously, having 8 TGMs at the disposal of my fingertips is pretty good. However, the vehicle itself has a lot of flaws. One of them being is ATGMs. Not saying ATGMs are shit. I mean, they do fairly well. However, one downfall is different forms of APS systems, especially in the realm of hard kill systems. Explosive reactive armor does withstand the abuse of the ATGMs pretty well. The next thing I'm going to point out is, for being a tank destroyer, it is quite slow. Now, I would have to say that's got to do, one, with the weight of the launcher, and two, the unbalanced nature of the launcher. So it's not a fast-moving vehicle. It does have a speed booster as a special ability. However, it only lasts a few seconds, and then it takes almost a minute until it's ready again. The ATGMs can be spammed actually pretty quickly. You can almost have two in the air at the same time. The reason I am only firing one at a time like this, though, is because of its long reload. it's got almost a 30-second
They're
reload,
mobilized.
which is actually pretty good considering how much firepower you have at your fingertips. But yeah, sometimes that 30 seconds feels like a long time. Another thing I want to point out is the view range for a tank destroyer. Its view range is actually quite poor. It's not horrendous, but even at tier 10, it kind of has more or less a main battle tank's view range. The next thing to point out is the camouflage factor is god awful. Actually, from what I can tell, sitting still or moving or shooting, it's pretty much any vehicle at this tier just has the worst camouflage rating of any vehicle at this tier, or at least so I think any vehicle. I've been trying to find a vehicle with the worst camo rating, and I can't find one. So you gotta kind of sit pretty far away from the fight. The guidance system, honestly, to me, is not very appealing. Understand that, yes, you're watching me guide the missiles in pretty well, hitting target most of the time. But I'm also using advanced guidance retrofits. I'm also using a breach block for improved breach block for faster reloading, etc., etc., etc. The next thing I want to point out is, total said than done, it's only got a total of 40 shots of ammunition. So in PvE, yeah, I run out of ammunition almost every time I use this thing. Which actually, even in this game, I end up having to use my kit for ammunition. I pretty well just wait till I run completely dry on ammunition, and then I use that. So that is a quite common occurrence. Now, obviously in PvP, that wouldn't be such a problem. Playing this vehicle for a bunch of matches, what I can say about it is it's a highly specialized vehicle. It's got to play far from the back. It can't afford to be spotted.
You have no idea how important it is to stop the Alliance.
There you go. That's the end of the replay there. We got the W, and I'll pull up my results quick and talk a little bit more about how I feel about the AFT-10. It is a tier 10 premium, so it's a very excellent moneymaker. As you can see, I made 259,000 credits without premium time. I would have made much, much more with premium time, and grabbed myself a blue star with almost 32,000 damage and 12 enemy vehicles destroyed with 4 spotted. That being said, it's an extremely specialized vehicle. If most of the time, if you get spotted, that's it, you're dead. Very rarely you're going to be able to get a chance to run away. There's very few maps in the game right now for PvE that this vehicle is extremely useful on, and most maps it is actually a hindrance. What I would say for PvP, personally, with my experience with PvP, I would never use this vehicle in a PvP matchup. Once again, there's very few maps where you can get those long ranges where you could safely use the AFT-10 and still hit target and be extremely useful for your team. Also, with PvP versus PvE, I can see what map I'm getting put on before I'm put on that map. So I have an idea of how useful I'm actually going to be before I do personally select this vehicle for service. Well, this was actually a completely random game. I forgot to check the map before I went into game. For PvP, you don't have that option. Now, on the other hand, for Spec Ops, Global Ops, you might be able to get away with it. You tend to play on slightly larger maps. The maps tend to have some areas where you can kind of, range in on a target. It's kind of hard to say. I don't have too much experience with global ops because it's quite hard to get global ops some days. Um, the next thing I want to point out is spec ops, and the vehicle is just useless for spec ops. Once again, you're primarily pushing. The maps are not designed with any kind of long range in mind, so you're not going to be able to safely engage targets from a distance. And the ammunition is a complete and utter hindrance. Uh, Now, what can I say about the vehicle? Could I recommend it personally? No, I can't recommend this. There's better tier 10 premiums. Me personally, I would go for either the Alte or the T14 152 Armada if I am going to go for a tier 10 premium tank. I'm going to just personally, if I'm looking for a tier 10 moneymaker, I'm going to go for a tank that has versatility versus a tank that's not. It's a personal preference thing. I wouldn't say it's horrendous. It's fun to play. As you can see, I really kicked out a lot of damage. Um, but yeah, that's just my opinion about the vehicle. So anyway, and as you can see, I was easily top damage overall. Uh, and we'll just leave it at that. So there you go, the AFT-10. It's at some point or another, it will be on sale again, I'm sure. If I recall, I think this take was actually hidden in a loot crate. And honestly, I haven't seen too many of these out there. So a lot of people, it seems like a lot of people either didn't get them through the loot crates or just didn't buy those loot crates. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed this replay for what it was. It's the AFT-10. There's not a lot of history on it. It hasn't been out long. And in game, I gave you my opinion. So anyway, folks, hopefully you enjoyed the replay, and I will see you all again on the next one.